Alright folks, how's it going? There's Cattys, and in this video I want to talk about what's in my carving kit, so stay tuned. So it's a great experience for yourself that when you go out into the woods, whether you're on a solo, whether you're with friends, even your family, to be able to grab yourself a piece of wood and obviously carve your own product, whether it's a spoon, whether it's a simple butter knife, or whether it's a simple spatula. So we're going to talk about carving kits. Obviously they come in all forms. Some people will carry more carving tools than others. Some people will just maybe use their bushcraft knife or their knife of whatever they're carrying. But it's obviously good to have a bag such as this or something similar to carry in your kit, obviously for your carving projects. So the first thing I do take is obviously my glasses, okay? And then the other thing you want to be grabbing is a first aid kit. Even if it isn't a first aid kit, just a roll of tape, just in case you cut yourself and you obviously need to dress those cutting injuries. Okay, so let's have a look at what's inside my carving kit. Now it's quite a large one, but obviously it's got all the tools in there and all the bits and pieces that I use to obviously carry out my little carving projects. Now it's obviously in one of the Dave, this is a Dave Fryer's pouch, part of his modular system. And the first thing straight at the top there is my armoured chest plate, and normally what I would do, that would go over the top of my head and then sit on my chest. Some of you, if you're regular viewers to the video, you'll see me using that because it's quite handy for resting wood against your chest. Obviously stops you from sort of hurting your chest. All right, so that's the chest plate, very easy to make. A little bit of that sort of 6mm, 8mm leather cut into that sort of shape, and then obviously just attaching a couple of pieces or a piece of paracord for it to go over your head. Next thing I've got in here is a little leather pouch, and in there I've got some various grains of abranet. If you've not used this stuff before, it's absolutely brilliant. It's a lot better than just using sandpaper. Sandpaper gets quite clogged up, but with the abranet, as you can see, it's like a mesh. So then when it obviously does block up with wood dust and stuff like that, you literally give it a flick and you can reuse it. I keep a P80 right up to about a 320 in here, the real fine stuff, and then I've just fashioned myself a little leather pouch, because what I used to do was just leave the abranet stuck in there and it was all over the place. So I just literally knocked myself up a little leather pouch to obviously house the abranet. Okay, the next two I'm going to get out, all right, are augers. Okay, these are Scotch eye augers. Okay, one is a 6mm and one is a 10mm. Okay, I just keep that plastic sleeve over there, and there's a 10mm. Okay, great again for those little woodcrafting projects, come in very handy. And then the other one I've got here is this is a 16mm one, and this one I use for tapping birch trees, or for using for obviously drilling holes into wood. And I've literally made myself a little sort of a pouch there for it to sit in. I've also got part of an IPK peg, because what I've done is I've drilled that out to thin out the wall, and then that will then be, this will be drill the hole into the birch tree, and then I will tap that in there as my spout for the sap to come out. And then to finish off there, I've got the metal bar that acts as the handle through the top of the auger. Well, I've also got a little stropping board there, and also a bit of Smurf poo, okay, which is obviously handy for when you know, you want to just give your knives a quick strop and resharpen them again if you're doing loads and loads of carving. Next knife I've got there, this is just a Mora wooden handled carving knife, and I've literally put a birch sheath on there from birch bark, okay, and then that slots in there just to obviously, you know, stop it from cutting my fingers or stabbing the pouch when it's stored away and it's in transit. I've also got another Mora knife here. Okay, this one's quite a nice one, obviously longer than that one. Okay, and I like this one literally because of the length when I'm actually sort of carving kind of slightly wider stuff. And then what I've done is I've just made myself up a little wooden sheath, and then I've put some leather around that, wrapped a bit of leather around it to obviously keep it intact. Right, for my spoon knife, this is one of Ben Alford's, the little leather sheath. I make them myself. If you're interested, I sell them on the Etsy store. They're less than £5. I know they're only just sort of thin upholstery leather, but obviously it will stop it from, when you're reaching into your pouch, from cutting your hands, and also it just protects the blade a little bit more. Okay, and that's sort of like my choice of spoon knife. Right, I've got a builder's pencil, but you can have a normal pencil, it doesn't really matter. I've just got one of those in there. I've also got a Falkneven, this is the CC4 sharpening stone they do. This is the ceramic one, and I've got that in there, very, very obviously fine ceramic there, and obviously the grain on that side. Don't use it too much really, because when I'm carving and such like, really the tools don't get that. They're not really something that needs a you know, sort of like like sort of like aggressive handling, like you would say your actual bushcraft knife when you're battening. This really is just for the fine stuff of carving tools, but I still like to keep it in there just in case I need. I keep a ruler in there, just a little stainless steel ruler, again because it just fits inside the pouch. Some people like to use those sort of hinged rulers, the big ones, but that's simply what I've got because obviously I'm only working with small projects. I've also got in here a recent little thing that was given to me by David Fryers, and it's basically for stropping the spoon knife. Now I'm not going to sort of do a knife sharpening, you know, there's 1,001 of them on YouTube. Okay, but basically this is for stropping the inside of the blade. Normally with me I tend to just strop the outside of it, but this is obviously quite handy. It's been shaped so that I can obviously strop the inside of the blade as well, so quite handy there. And that is just a piece of sort of what, about 6mm leather that's been stitched down the side, and obviously handy for such uses as sharpening your spoon knife. And quickly put that away. The only other bits now that I've got in there at the bottom is obviously because sometimes taking it out, doing a bit of crafting and stuff like that. This is from a guy, Wanderer Fox. I'm not going to take the contents out, but there's some little arrowheads in there and stuff like that, and it came in this lovely little pouch. Okay. And then finally, what I've got in now, I used to keep cardboard sort of stencils and stuff like that in my in this carving kit, but I've recently just gone over to using plastic. This is basically just from an old plastic milk carton, and I've just cut them up into some various shapes there, just handy enough for you to use when you're obviously, if you know, for doing your little carving. And then finally I've got this I've got a stone in there. Now it's very popular. I think it was Zed Outdoors, Zed's videos, he was talking, he was doing some spoon carving with a lady, and what she used, rather than abranet for sort of finishing off her spoons, she used stone. And basically what she was doing, that was using the stone to obviously press the, you know, press the wood down, press the grain, and it kind of finishes with a shiny sort of texture. Okay, so that's the final bit of that's the final bit of kit I've got in there. Okay, you could say that it's quite a lot, but for me personally, it ticks the boxes of what I use. I don't mind carrying it. It will go into my day sack, it will go into my main rucksack, obviously if I'm out if I'm out on a weekend, and it's obviously my carving kit that I use. So thanks for watching, folks. Okay, don't forget to leave your comments, please subscribe to the channel, don't forget to hit that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care. So it's a nice experience that when you go out to the woods, whether you're on a solo with your friends, even with your family, and you sit down, grab yourself a piece of wood and you start carving, and it's nice to craft your own you know, products, your own gift, your own sort of fucking shit. So it's really good when you go out into the woods and you want to carve your own stuff, whether it's bloody Nora. Now really this is quite a big carving kit, but I think it works for me. It's got all the tools in there that I need, all the practical pieces that I use for carving, for my simple carving projects. Now it's in one of the pouches made by David Fryers, okay, part of his modular system. Okay, and I'm not going to we're just going to pan through it quickly and I'll show you what's in there. So the first thing I'll keep is a chest plate. Why? Because that's at the top, and I like to carry the chest plate. It's tangled up in the augers there. Do bear with us a sec. So with that in mind, what I want to do obviously in this video is talk about what's in my carving kit. Now carving kits, you know, they come in many various forms. So we're going to talk about carving kits. Carving kits come in all forms and